right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to 7-Figure Friday. My name is Ryan McMorris from Intentional Lifestyle, and every Friday we have a special guest on our show. And today is just it's another day where we have an amazing leader in the home-based business.
Ryan McMorris from Intentional Lifestyle.
Get this thing muted. All right. One second, guys. Let me
I'm here, man. Sorry. I was trying to watch it on Facebook and the sound came in.
All right. Make sure that's muted. And so welcome, guys. Welcome again. My name is Ryan McMorris from Intentional Lifestyle. And every single Friday, we have an amazing person on here from the home-based business industry. We interview them, and these are special people because they have gone over and beyond. They've gone to not the 1 comma club, but the 2 comma club. Okay, so make sure that you got this video, press it, record it, whatever, save it. Here are the rules, guys. Here are the rules. 1, you got to say thank you to this guy for giving us his time. 2, let him know that you absolutely love him through emojis. Share this out because it's going to be obviously generic training, so you can share it with your teams. Press share. Let us know that you shared. And again, guys, if you are cool with following the rules on this broadcast on 7-Figure Friday, all you got to do is press 1 in the comment section. And as always, guys, if you want the rest of these 7-Figure Friday episodes with all the other amazing leaders, all you got to do is go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, and you'll see 7-Figure Friday. Now, today, the man, the myth, the legend, the hair, Mr. Bob Heilig. And if you don't know who Bob Heilig is, I'm going to suggest that you go to your local doctor, go to a physician. You may have something wrong with like the cords in your head. I don't know. Something may be wrong. Maybe living under a rock. This guy is the man. Okay. I love him. Everybody loves him. I literally don't know a person who doesn't love Bob Heilig. I mean, I don't think it exists. Like, that person does not exist. Bob Heilig, the founder of your social media upline. This guy is amazing. Okay. Amazing. Welcome to the show, my man, Bob Heilig. What's up?
Ryan, good to be here, man. That might have been my best intro ever. I got to hire you.
Dude, I'll take it. I mean, dude, I mean, but you're well deserving of it. I mean, your story, dude, is absolutely amazing. I mean, your hair, awesome, by the way. I everything about you, dude. I'm in love with Bob Heilig. I can't deny it, man.
Hopefully by the end of my life, I can be known for something more than just my hair. That's my primary goal in the mission of my business. Although I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I mean, we're all there. You know, I mean, we're all there. I mean, it's one of those things. So Bob, dude, I mean, 1, thank you for being on here, man. I mean, I watch all your stuff. Your training's amazing. Just to watch how much you've grown, because when I first saw you take over my news feed, I was like, dude, this guy's an absolute badass. And then like you took it to another level and went even badasser. I don't know if that's a thing, but you did. And then to hear your story, bro, because you look like one of those guys. I'm not gonna lie, man. You look like one of those guys. It just comes off so smooth and so easy that you're like, was he born like this? Like, did he literally come out of the womb with like such amazing hair, such amazing speaking ability? The ability to just transform people is top notch. So
thanks, man.
Then you told me your story, and I was like, holy crap, don't believe it. Either he's so tell us, man. Tell us about Bob Heilig.
Yeah. So my, I'll give you the abridged version. My background is, I was in the medical sales field prior to getting involved in network marketing back in around the year 2001. So my network marketing days go way back. And, my story is this. My first year, I like to say I sucked at network marketing. I didn't recruit a single person. I had 2 customers, myself and my mom. That was my success story at the end of my first year. I had to basically threaten my mom to sign up for my service. We were marketing long distance phone service. So like, how difficult was it really to get a customer? And I had to threaten my mom I wasn't going to come home for Christmas unless she signed up. And my first business partner wound up being my cousin Keith. And the only reason he signed up is because I owed him $500. And that just so happened to be how much it cost to start our business. And he basically, out of pity and, just said, hey, look, if I do this, will you stop talking to me about it? We'll call it even. And so that was my start in network marketing. I was not an overnight success. I did struggle a lot in that first year. I eventually kind of figured some things out, which obviously we'll dig a little deeper into. But it wasn't kind of like all of a sudden I had a lot of success. My story is I spent 4 years in my first network marketing company, really not having a very high level of success. I wound up quitting, completely getting out of the profession for almost 6 years, and then got back into it in 2011 after a frustrating career in corporate sales. And that was when I finally was able to have some success. And, we were really fortunate at that point. I learned a lot of lessons from my earlier days as an entrepreneur, and went on to become a 7-figure earner inside of the profession. We built a team of over 100,000 reps. And I went through a series of events in 2015 that led me down a different path, let's just say. I had 2 network marketing companies in the span of 7 months close on me. And I found myself in August of 2015, newly engaged, and really having no idea what I was going to do. I was really at the bottom of at rock bottom. And I woke up on a Monday morning after having gone through this, and I hopped on Periscope. And I did my first live video ever. Now, prior to that, I had no presence on social media. I barely ever used Facebook. I put off doing a video for almost a year out of fear and terror. And I said to myself, listen, man, if you're ever going to do it, now's the time. And I woke up on a Monday morning. I did a live video to 5 people, had no idea who they were. And it was not great. I couldn't figure out how to shut off the camera at the end. I was pretty embarrassed, but I committed. I said, you know what, to the 5 people that were there, I said, if you want, if you're interested, I'm going to be here for the next 30 days and I'm going to do a video every day. And I did that because I knew that if I didn't make a commitment publicly that I probably wouldn't follow through because I had put it off for so long. And I did that. I showed up and I did a little 5 to 10 minute video every morning for 30 days. And I started, once I got over the fear, I started to kind of catch the bug, let's say. I started really falling in love with this concept of being able to add value to others and put something out there that could help people. And 30 days turned into 6 months of doing a video every day. Now, in that 6-month time period, it's important for people to understand, while I was doing these videos, I didn't have a check coming in. So I was not getting paid. I hadn't made a single dollar doing this, but I had faith and I hoped that if I just put enough value out into the marketplace and if I could build a following, that I would be able to someday, hopefully, be able to make money and get paid by doing it. So I was really focusing more on trying to serve the industry as a whole. And I had to liquidate a 401k, literally every dollar of my retirement savings, in order to purchase coaching, start a website, and learn how to do this. So in December of 2015, I was literally dead broke. I could barely even buy my fiance a Christmas present. And then in January of 2016, I did my first ever webinar. I didn't even know how to run the webinar platform. I had never done one before. I hired someone to get on and do it for me. And on that webinar changed the course of my life, because that first webinar, I made over $100,000 selling and marketing digital products.
So you were perfectly fine with going broke to get rich.
Yeah, well, to me, it was, I was listening to the signs. I felt like the universe or God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, somebody was telling me there's a different path for you to take. There was a reason why I went through what I went through. Look, I love network marketing. I make my living serving the profession, and I have friends of mine that have been with companies for over a decade, but my path was different. I went through what I went through for a reason. And I said, I'm going to try to make this happen. I believed in myself, and I just went out and I took massive action, and I worked my what off, and I learned it and I figured it out.
So like for you, was it one of those things where, because you would think that like the person that's, anybody I would think normal person, and obviously you're definitely not normal anymore, liquidating the 401k, was there a lot of doubt there? Or was it just that voice was just so strong that you just like, there was no like doubt, you just knew, okay, I'm going to listen to it, right? What was it?
Well, to me, it was, I had no other options. It was either, for me, the place that I was at, I was either going to go get a job or I was going to figure this out on my own. And, doing that in retrospect probably wasn't the smartest financial decision, but here's why I felt good doing it. Because I was investing in something that I had 100% control over, which was myself. Warren Buffett says the best investment you can make is yourself. And I had confidence that if I could get the right skills, that I could go out and make this happen. Now, I had no idea making it happen was going to happen as quickly as it did. I mean, within 10 months of doing that first webinar, I had made over $1 million online just from literally going from being broke to creating that. So I had no idea it was going to be that life-changing. My thought process was, if I could just make enough money to like pay my bills for the first year so I could figure this whole thing out. But what I didn't understand was I didn't understand the power of the technology of live video and what it can do for building a personal brand and building an audience. And, so I didn't understand. But to me, looking back, obviously I would do it again, but I felt okay because I knew that I had control as to whether that investment panned out or not.
No, that's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Yep.
So for the person that's watching that maybe is going through some money trouble, I mean, because I've had people come to me with this. I'm sure you've had people come to you with this too. But if they're out there doing the thing, but money's dwindling down, and how do you keep those thoughts out of your head? Like, how do you keep those like, is this the right decision? Those kind of things. How do you keep that stuff out of your head and keep your head down, doing the webinars and doing the live videos and plugging into the trainings and keep investing in coaches? I mean, how do you keep that? How do you keep focused with that kind of stuff that right behind you, one mistake and it's, in a box or something?
Yeah. Well, I think the first thing you have to do is you have to be honest with yourself about whether or not you're really showing up every day the way you need to create the results that you want. Because I think a lot of times we think we're working and doing enough, but at the end of the day, there's always more we could be doing. And I think, looking back, I actually believe I had an advantage over most other people because I had to make this work.
Right.
Like I had no other, it was if I want to eat, I got to make this work. And I think a lot of times when people venture into the world of entrepreneurship, it's not a must for them. It's not, it would be nice to have, right? So I think there's always more we could be doing, but I also think that we all hold ourselves back in a way because of fear. And I think fear is the one thing that I talk the most about nowadays, because I think a lot of times the thing that keeps us from what we want in life is our fear. And there's always something else that we know we could or should do, but but because of fear, we wind up limiting ourselves. I'll give you some examples of what I mean. So when I did that first webinar, I was scared out of my mind. I had no idea how to do a webinar. I didn't know if anybody was going to buy it, right? I could have very easily have just said, I'm not ready for this yet. Let me just kind of keep doing what I'm doing, right? When I launched my first course, I sold, so get this. I sold a course that I hadn't even created yet. I literally sold a $500 course that I hadn't created a single PowerPoint for. But I said, you know what? I'm going to put it out there and I'll figure it out. I did my first event ever in August of 2016, right? Invested, almost $25,000 in creating an event, getting an event space. not even knowing if anybody's going to show up. When I sold my first mastermind, I had no idea if anyone was going to buy it. See, I think the thing that I've done is because it was a must for me, I was willing to become an implementer. I took massive action. I was always looking for, what's that next thing for me? For some of the people that are watching, maybe they haven't dove into live video yet because they're afraid of it. Well, I'll tell you that there's a reason why you're afraid of it, because deep down, it's the thing you need to be doing to go to the next level. We fear the things we do in life for a reason. Fear is an indicator. It is not something to move away from. It's something to move closer to. See, there's two types of fear. There's rational and irrational fear. And 98% of fear is irrational. Now, if I'm standing in an airplane and I don't have a parachute and you're trying to push me out, that's a rational fear, right? There's a reason why I fear that. But if I'm sitting in front of my phone trying to hit broadcast to do my first Facebook Live ever, here's the thing. The human mind literally experiences the same fear. It tricks itself into thinking you're going to die. The emotional response is the same. But if we can learn how to recognize an irrational fear, and we know that, I'm pretty sure this is still accurate. No one's ever died from doing a really bad Facebook Live, right? Like, you're not going to die. If we can say this is an irrational fear and we can learn how to have courage to just take the first step, it is in those moments that our biggest breakthroughs occur. So if somebody's watching this, if you're fearing giving your first network marketing presentation, you need to do it, like literally today. If you're fearing prospecting somebody that's very successful, you need to do it. If you're fearing being a leader, you need to step up and lead, because if we can follow our fears, that leads us to our purpose.
Man, that's big, man. That's big. So obviously, I mean, you are a master at handling fear. So, I mean, with the people that you work with, the people that, that come to Bob for help, I mean, what are some of the things that, because I'm sure that, awesome speech, but like, I'm sure there's some people out there that are, well, easy for you to say, Bob, or, well, how am I going to do it? You don't know my story. And, so what are some things that, exercises, something that someone can do to like really start to get away or start moving towards that fear?
Yeah. Well, the first thing you have to do is you have to recognize it and be aware of what it is. Okay. If it is an irrational fear, which almost everything we talk about that's an irrational fear, we have to understand that first and foremost, the fear will never go away.
Okay.
It will never go away. You will always have an experience of fear. What you have to learn how to do is you have to learn how to become courageous. And courage is feeling fear, but taking an action anyway. And courageousness is like a muscle. You can build that up. And what I've learned to do is I actually seek out fear, because I know if I'm not feeling fearful in anything I'm doing for a long period of time, I'm not continuing to grow and push myself. So first and foremost, understanding fear is good. And the second thing is realizing this: we fear the things we do for a reason, because a lot of times our biggest fears they signal our greatest gifts. So I'll give you an example. Public speaking was one of my biggest fears my whole life. The first time I was asked to speak in front of an audience, it was in network marketing. I had only been in the company I was in for about 6 months. Someone asked me to get in front of a room of about 30 people and just introduce the speaker, right? Many of people have been in that type of a position before. And it seems like an easy enough thing to do, but for me, it was literally terrifying. And I got up in front of a room, and all I had to do was just say my name and tell people to turn their cell phones off. I had a glass of water in my hand, and I was shaking so bad I was spilling the water on my hand. They're standing in the back of the room. They're like, put the water down. I'm like, oh, okay. And it was an incredibly bad experience for me. And I remember leaving that meeting being so embarrassed, but I remember getting into my car and something interesting happened to me. It was really surprising. I still remember this literally like it was yesterday. I remember having this kind of feeling come over me that I wanted to do it again. Even though it was so bad and I was so embarrassed, I wanted to do it again because I knew I could do better. And what I had to admit is that this was something that I knew if I wanted to be successful, I was going to need to get over. And that one experience, it opened up something inside of me that I never knew was there because I was never willing to face those fears. I always ran away from speaking in public. And here's what it did, Ryan, is it started this process. And listen, by no means am I saying the second time I went up there, I killed it. I was bad for a while, but I started working on it. And then before I knew it, I actually started getting pretty good. And people started saying, man, you're pretty good in front of the room. And I remember the first time somebody told me that, I'm like, I am? Because it was something I dreaded for so long. And then I look at my life today and I look at the way that I earn a living. And the thing that I'm really clear on is my purpose in life is to inspire people through my story. And what I think of is, what if I never would have ever faced that fear and found out this? Because my fears actually led me to my biggest gift that I have. So I would tell somebody that's watching this, that's struggling with something in their life, recognize it to be an irrational fear and understand you only fear the things that deep down your soul knows are important for you to do.
Right. That's huge, man. That's big.
Yeah.
So it sounds like, to me, because I've always been taught, that the true formula for success is three things. It's, learning how to communicate with other people, learning how to communicate with yourself, and obviously mastering the basics.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you have some phenomenal self-talk. I mean, because obviously these conversations that you're having with yourself are pretty awesome conversations, and they're getting you to a place where you're making some really awesome decisions. So have you always been that person that's just been having like really awesome conversations with yourself, like really awesome self-talk, or are there some things along the way that helped you get away from negative self-talk? Because I know there's a lot of people out there that are watching this, whether live on the recording, but that self-talk is going to creep in, right?
Yeah.
And so what do you do if that self-talk, or if that negative self-talk, or does it even still creep in nowadays, even because you say you push yourself a lot, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, it never goes away, and I still deal with it. And look, I'll be honest. I had a week last week where a couple of things happened inside of my business that flared it up in me again. And, it's kind of crazy. It doesn't matter how successful you are. You're always going to have moments of self-doubt, and you're always going to have moments of, am I really supposed to do this? And I still have that happen to me, but here's what I've learned to do. I've learned how to discipline my thinking. I've learned how to become aware of when I do start to go down that kind of area of thinking. I've learned how to catch myself, and I've taught myself how to focus somewhere else. Because at the end of the day, and you know this, I mean, you're studying and an expert on the area of kind of, mindset and attraction, law of attraction, is that at the end of the day, it's always just a story. We're telling ourselves a story about the events that are happening in our life. And the difference between successful people and failures is successful people make up stories that empower them to take action. Right. Failures make up stories that disempower us. And I think one of my favorite books is actually by a guy named Viktor Frankl. It's called Man's Search for Meaning. And he was a prisoner in a Nazi concentration camp. And survived like literally the most unthinkable conditions you could ever, go through. But he talks about it in his book that this whole concept of there's two different things. There's stimulus and there's response. So there's what happens to us, and then there's the way we respond to it. And in between those two things, there is a space. And in that space is where you create success or failure. So when something happens to us, we assign a meaning to it, which then causes us to respond a certain way. And what you have to learn how to do is in that space, you have to learn how to start talking and assigning meanings that are empowering. Another good book is called The 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins, which is based off of that same thing. So what I've learned how to do is I've learned how to become aware of my thinking and catch myself when I do that. Most people, most failures, they have this self-talk happening all the time, but they're never aware of it, that it's happening.
Man, that's huge. And let me tell you something, man. Wes has got, obviously, I think you've been to Landmark before.
Yeah.
Wes is headed to the communications. We're actually headed to Atlanta right now to go to Landmark.
Oh, no way. Awesome, man.
Yeah, dude.
That's great.
I'm telling you, man, I mean, what Bob just like unveiled, guys, I'm telling you, it's the secret to life.
Yeah.
Like that's the secret don't even hit on the secret.
Right. Right.
You know, that's where it is. I mean, we all create stories, we all put meaning on things. And if you look back at the stuff, it happened, right? But it's all on how you interpret it. It's all on whether or not you create a story that empowers you to get to the result you want. Most people just don't decide the result they want, so they don't know whether or not something should be empowering or disempowering.
Yep.
So
here's a good exercise, man, that I was taught that worked really well for me that I can give. So like, let's try to help the viewers, give them like an actual thing they can do. Try to, even if it's just over the next like 48 hours, pay really close attention to your thoughts and literally document your thoughts. You do this even for one day. Here's something interesting will happen. Anytime you have a negative thought, you write it down. So two things are going to happen. Number one is you're going to start to realize, wow, I never knew I talked to myself this way. And what's interesting is, think of it like this. What you'll immediately think about is, imagine if you were to talk to another human being the way that you talk to yourself.
Oh, man.
You would never do that, first and foremost. So what's happening is you're going to raise your awareness around your negative thinking. And because you do that, you are automatically going to start doing it less. Because whatever you measure, whatever you track, you start paying more attention to. So you're going to start catching so the intended result's going to happen automatically. You're going to catch yourself. And because you know you're going to write it down, you're going to stop. And literally in the matter of a day or two, if you can raise your awareness around these things, it will have such an immense help for you. Now, it's not to say that all of a sudden you're going to be fixed and you're not going to think negatively anymore, but it's about catching it. It's about Winston Churchill said the price of greatness is responsibility. And responsibility applies to all areas of your life. If you want to be great, you have to be responsible for every single thought that enters in your brain.
Ooh, Bob, man, I thought we agreed before we came on here. We weren't going to like blow everyone's mind. You just said you're going to give some good stuff away.
That's all I know how to do, man. I just cranked down my energy drink here, and it's starting to kick in on me a little bit.
Hey, man, top-notch stuff, man. Top-notch stuff. So last thing before we wrap up, man, because we actually do got to head to Atlanta. But one thing that I think one of my biggest takeaways from my relationship with you, connecting with you at events, one of the things that I got that was just like a mind-blowing thing for me was like, you went out and you just said, you know what, I'm going to give all the free value that I can. And like most people, they want this audience, they want the followings. And you went out and you said, hey, anybody that will value me, I'll do free trainings, I'll do free this, I'll do free this, and you free phone calls and all these things in front of all the people that didn't know you. So like you were taking one person that may have had a team of 10,000 people and say, hey, I'll do a training for your team, keep it generic, whatever. And all of a sudden you've got followers, followers and followers and followers. And, what would you say to the person that's looking to like go out and like build that audience? Or do you want to touch on that topic? Because we talked about it a little bit. Yeah. And I really do feel like it's one of the most breakthrough things when it comes to building an audience. And you still do it today.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this from a philosophical standpoint. Here's what it takes. It takes a shift. And when we talk about network marketing, here's what I'm becoming really passionate about. Because I believe one of the most pervasive problems with this profession is this whole focus on the success mindset. And the success mindset is purely focused on material gain and money. Right. And that's I'll tell you this. If you have a success mindset, you may make money, but the chances of you maintaining it long-term are probably not really good, because the success mindset will lead you to happiness, right? And happiness is temporary. So like your audience is not, you're not waking up today motivated to go to work because of a bonus check you got 6 months ago or a rank advancement you got last year. That nice watch on your wrist, that might keep you motivated for a little while, but eventually that's going to wear off. See, here's what you need to do. You need to shift to what I call the significance mindset. Success is about you. Significance is about others. If you can shift from a success to a significance mindset, it will lead you to fulfillment. And fulfillment is lasting. See, you can actually, in your business, if you feel like what you're doing is bigger than just yourself and your own monetary gain, you can not like what you do, but still do it because you're fulfilled by the work. So what I'm saying is this. This is your 7-figure interview series, right? And everybody wants to make 7 figures. And that's the obsession. Man, I got to make 7 figures. Well, I'll give you my number 1 tip to making it. Stop focusing on it. Because the moment I stopped trying to make $1 million and I started obsessing over impacting the lives of 1 million people, it happened almost overnight for me. And I'll tell you the reason why most people fail on social media, because they approach it from a get first mentality. They do everything they do, it's because they expect to get something. Well, let me do this live video because I need a recruit. And if I don't get a recruit after a couple of weeks, I'm not going to do it anymore because I'm not getting what I need to get out of it. That is the success mindset. Here's the significance mindset. You will give 10 times more than you'll get. You will give, like I did a video every day for 6 months, giving. And I fell in love with the process of giving and adding value, knowing that if I did that long enough, I could get as much as I want. And that's, if your viewers can understand that your job is to add so much value to other people that literally they line up to give you money or whatever it is you're doing. And that's the thing, money is very simply, it is a scoreboard for how much value you put into the marketplace. And if your check isn't where you want it to be, then you need to up the value that you're putting out there. You need to give more. And if you do that, you will get more than you've ever had.
Man, that's huge. That is huge. So I know I lied, man. I'm not keeping my integrity head to landmark. But one more thing, because I know you touch on this like nobody I've ever heard before, man. Know, love, and trust is something that I've heard you talk about. I've literally never heard anybody else really hit on it. Everybody's talking no, like, and trust, right? Yeah. We, heard that, till the cows, come home. But you touch on know, love, and trust. And one thing that I remember you saying was, what's the reason you really love your parents? And it's because they loved you first. Yeah. You know what I mean? And what's the reason your audience loves you? Yep. Is because you got to love them first. Yeah. Touch on like how you got to that, it's interesting because I'm literally next month I'm launching a second podcast called the No Love and Trust podcast. So, my man. I'm building kind of a brand around that. But so the old saying is this: if somebody feels like they know you, they like you, and they trust you. And if somebody knows, likes, and trusts you, they buy from you. Now, my argument is in the world we live in today, that's not good enough anymore. If you really want to stand out, you need to take it to the next level. And I teach this thing called know, love, and trust. And what it's based off of is this concept of love. I've built an entire business around love. And I genuinely have love for my audience. And because of that, they love me. Now, the question is, we're not talking about love in the traditional sense, obviously. But how do we demonstrate love for someone that we could never meet, potentially? There's 3 things, 3 areas of focus to lead you to know, love, and trust. Number 1 is authenticity. You have to learn how to be yourself. You have to be willing to be very vulnerable on video and on social media so people really get to know the real you. So, I'm constantly trying to push the limits of this in my business. I just launched a new project called Bob TV, which is basically a weekly vlog style video show where I film myself in all of the aspects of my life, which has been very difficult for me because I'm very introverted by nature. But the reason why I did this is because I know that my audience, they don't really know all of me. They know a part of me, but they don't know this other side of me that the people that love me the most do know.
So I've been letting people into my world even more, and I'm seeing even a better connection with my audience. So be yourself. You don't need to be anybody other than yourself to be able to execute in this space. So authenticity. The second one is generosity. Now, generosity is doing what we're talking about, giving. You and I were chatting about this before we went live. My wife, Shannon, thought I was crazy for 6 months because I was literally doing free training calls, free conference calls, free webinars. I was going out of my way to serve people because I knew that was going to be the thing that would help me make the connections and build the following faster. So be generous of your time. Be generous of yourself with the knowledge and the experience that you have. And that generosity will help kind of speed things up. Now, in order for you to be generous, you got to have the long game in mind. Right. Most people only give to get. You got to give, and know eventually you will get. Okay. Third thing is consistency. So we have authenticity, generosity. The third thing is consistency. And this is where 99% of people go wrong. They do it for a period of time, and because they have the success mindset and they're just trying to get, when they don't get right away, they stop. Now, one of my favorite books, The Slight Edge, teaches us differently. The Slight Edge says that by the time you get what you want, 90% of the work is already done. Most people don't understand that. How long is it going to take? I don't know. It took me 6 months. It might take you longer, but I can promise you this. If you do this long enough, you will get 100%. So you got to be consistent. You got to show up every day. Listen, if you're doing live videos, not every live video needs to be a life-altering message and a grand slam home run. You just got to show up for people. Be yourself. Learn out loud. Teach people what you know. We all have the curse of knowledge. We have things in our mind that we think, why would people want to know that? That's common sense. But common sense is not always common practice. So if we just start sharing, we show up consistently, we're authentic and we're generous, it will lead you to know, love, and trust. And here's what know, love, and trust looks like. People will literally chase you trying to buy from you, trying to work with you. I mean, it is such a powerful thing to be able to create virtually through an audience. And that's how I've executed that over the last couple of years.
Man, that's heavy, guys. Heavy stuff. Highly recommend you go back and watch the recording of this because I know I will. Wow, man. And this stuff is law, guys. It's not like concept or, I wonder this is work. Literally, this is law. And the way laws work, it's irrefutable. You know what I mean? Like law is law. And there's laws to the authenticity, the generosity, and the consistency. Yo, Bob, I can't even, I'm going to have to stroke you a check or something, man. This was heavy.
It's all good, man.
Man, guys, so for those of you that were blown away by Bob, pop a number 2 in the comment section if your face was blown off and if you have any type of medical injury because of your head exploding. This amazing training that Bob just put on. Do not send the invoice to your medical bills to 7 Figure Friday. Make sure you send them to Mr. Bob Heilig. All right. How can people connect with you, man? Because they got to reach out to you. They got to say thank you. How can people connect with your social media upline? I know you got the legacy going on too, man. So how can people get more Bob Heilig? We want more.
I would say that, we're on Facebook. So my Facebook page is if you just search Your Virtual Upline, you can find my page on there. I do a lot of training on my page. And then the other thing I always recommend for someone that's a network marketer is my podcast. So it's called the Your Virtual Upline podcast. That to me is one of the best resources I have for a network marketer. We just, we hit 1 million downloads. We've been as high as 25 in the world on the iTunes business list. So it's something I'm really proud of. I pour my heart and soul into that each week, 1 to 2 new episodes. We've got, almost 70 episodes on there now. So anybody that's in network marketing, if you've never had a chance to check that podcast out, go to iTunes or you can access it right on my website, which is bobheilig.com. You can click on my podcast section and you can listen to it right on the website.
Man, awesome stuff, dude. Thank you again.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. 7 Figure Friday wouldn't be the same without you, man.
Awesome.
So, man, we appreciate it, man. Again, guys, show your love, your gratitude. Give Bob, give him a GIF hug or something. Shoot him a GIF. Go get his podcast. It's your virtual upline. Okay, so make sure you hashtag it, look for it, get connected to it, because this guy is somebody that you need to know, have on your email list, have in your arsenal, because this guy is an absolute giver. Bob, man, love you, brother.
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me, bro.
Yeah, man. Thanks for being on here, man. Have a good day, guys. 7 Figure Friday. Another episode is finished. See you, Bob.
See you, man. Take it easy.
Have a good day, guys.